She walked onto the base looking like the new girl. Everyone thought they could push around, but they had no idea they were about to challenge the one person who outranked them all. From which part of the country are you watching from? Tell me in the comments. They tried to take down the new girl, not knowing she was the base's admiral. When Lieutenant Commander Emily Reyes arrived at Falcon Ridge Training Base, she wore no visible rank for a reason. She had requested anonymity to observe the base's discipline after reports of arrogance and misconduct among some of the senior instructors. But the men didn't see a powerful officer. They only saw a young woman in a plain uniform, dusty boots, and a calm face. And for them, that was enough to underestimate her. On her first morning, she walked across the training yard just as a group of instructors shouted orders at new recruits. One of the loudest voices belonged to Master Sergeant Dalton, the man already on her list. He spotted her immediately. "Hey, new girl," he barked with a smirk. "You're late. Drop that bag and line up before I make an example out of you." Emily lifted an eyebrow, not in fear, but curiosity. She had planned to watch, not engage. But she knew disrespect when she heard it. "I don't believe I'm part of your formation," she answered calmly. Dalton's grin grew wider. He stepped closer, way too close. "Around here, you do what I say." Before she could respond, the other instructors laughed behind him like a pack sensing blood. Emily simply nodded and kept walking, but Dalton wasn't done. "Hey, I'm talking to you," he yelled, grabbing her bag off her shoulder and dropping in the dirt. The yard went silent. Even the recruits froze. Emily took a slow breath. She had seen arrogance, but this was new. She crouched to pick up her bag, brushing dust off it, when she noticed something. Dalton had positioned himself to block her path. He wanted a reaction. Instead, she stood tall and said, "This base's rules. You should follow them." Dalton burst into laughter. "Rules? Sweetheart, I make the rules here." That was the moment the first twist arrived. Captain Hill, another instructor known for pushing authority boundaries, jogged over. Emily assumed he might intervene, but instead, he pointed at her and said, "Is she the one causing trouble? Put her in the pit. Let's teach the newbie how Falcon Ridge welcomes latecomers." Two instructors grabbed her arms, not harshly, but firmly enough. The recruits watched, whispering. Emily didn't resist. She wanted to see just how bad things had gotten on her base. In the center of the yard, the pit was just a deep stretch of sand meant for conditioning drills. Dalton crossed his arms. "All right, new girl. Let's see how long you last." Emily knelt on the sand, not out of defeat, but calculation. She looked up at Dalton and said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He laughed again. "Oh, I'm very sure." She smiled just slightly. "Okay, then." The second twist hit like lightning. Colonel Mark Hastings, the base's deputy commander and one of the few aware of Emily's true identity, stepped out of the command building at the edge of the yard. His face turned pale when he saw her in the pit, surrounded by instructors acting like kings of their own little empire. He sprinted forward, shouting, "Stop! Everybody stand down." Dalton turned, annoyed. "Sir, we're just training." "Training?" Hastings barked. "You're assaulting the base's commanding officer." The entire yard froze. Dalton's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Captain Hill took a step back. The instructors went white. Emily rose slowly from the sand, brushing her hands off, letting the silence break them before she spoke. She clicked open the Velcro flap on her chest, pulling out her rank patch. She pressed it onto her uniform. 3 stars. Gasps echoed across the yard. Even the recruits stiffened in shock. Admiral Emily Reyes stood tall, her voice steady and razor-sharp. "You wanted to make an example?" she said, turning toward Dalton. "Congratulations. You just became one." Dalton stuttered a half-formed apology, but she held up her hand. "Save it. Your actions speak louder than anything you could say." She walked past him, eyes cutting through him like steel. "Report to my office in 10 minutes. All of you." But the story didn't end there. A deeper twist awaited. When Emily reached her office, she discovered the misconduct went far beyond disrespect. The instructors had built a hidden chain of unauthorized punishments and favoritism. Recruits had been threatened into silence. Files had been altered. It was worse than she expected, and it only fueled her determination. Within 48 hours, Emily initiated a full internal shakeup. Several instructors, including Dalton and Hill, were removed from command. She addressed the entire base, telling them, "Respect is not earned through fear, but through example. And if anyone here disagrees, you know where to find me." Her leadership transformed Falcon Ridge. Recruits who once walked with fear now walked with pride. And the story of the new girl, who turned out to be the Admiral, became the base's favorite legend. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe for more.